I know.
Yeah.
You might be interested in is that possible for that?
Yeah,
You do? Okay, because it's a little scarce that it was the show information, they tell you what time to get there and everything. Yeah.
According to the comic one, Cheryl has, it's my wife, that's your wife, watching. It's 5:30 on Wednesday. Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Alpine, Texas will hold a regular meeting today at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, January the 5th, 2017, in council chambers at 803 West Holland in the city of Alpine, Texas, for the purpose of considering the attached agenda. The notice is posted pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 55.043, Texas Government Code. If you have any cell phones, please mute them, turn them off. If not, it's a $50 fine for the new year. Okay. Call meeting to order, and we'll have the invocation led by the Reverend Leanna Covington.
Holy Father, it is a new year, and we are so glad to be able to start it. Dear Heavenly Father, it's a time when people make resolutions and they try to be better than they did in the prior year, and we pray that you would be with each person that is here, as we are always looking for ways to make things better. And that goes for the City Council. We are already blessed with a city of beauty, and Heavenly Father, we're blessed with beautiful people. And as this council and the mayor strive to make it even better, I pray that you might be with them, give them knowledge, give them judgment, give them a sense of fairness, and help them to make decisions that benefit all the city, all the citizens of Alpine. I ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
We don't have a city secretary today, so city manager, would you tell me what's the quorum?
Yes, we do have a quorum with 3 council members and the mayor in attendance. Meeting was posted at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on December 29, 2016.
Thank you very much. We don't have any recognitions or proclamations today, so we'll move over to the reports. First of all, I'd like to wish you all a happy new year, and I hope it's a safe and prosperous one. And we kind of ended the last quarter of 2016 with a lot of tragic events in our small city. You know, we can overcome most of them, but one of the missing, Zuzu Barrett, we need to keep her in our prayers, and keep your ears and eyes open, and please notify law enforcement if you hear of anything. It's a tragic thing that happened, so just keep that in mind. We're going to be challenged with some new issues in 2017, but we've had a good city council since I've taken over. We've all worked together and with the city manager also, and so we hope to continue that way. And any problems and issues that come up, I hope we can all get our heads together and rectify them. So with that said, I'll turn it over to the city manager.
Mayor, City Council, any brief report this evening. Sometimes it comes right up. Sometimes it takes a little extra push. I'm going to just briefly talk a little bit about our human resources. Things that we look at throughout the course of the year, how many employees we have, as well as when we hit the January time frame, we've got a lot of different reporting that comes out. Certainly our year-end reporting, W-2s, 1099s, things of that nature. We've also changed the health insurance for the employees this past year. And so really 90 days into it, something that we're looking at is how is the new program working for the employees? Several of us have had the opportunity to use it so far. And the transition, as always, from RHA to TML, you're going to have a few bumps in the road, but I think we're doing a nice job of managing through that. Ken Roberts is in town this week, working with Megan and I on any challenges that may occur. I just wanted to show as well, we've had several new hires recently, specifically Chief Scouts Department, 2 new officers, a new dispatcher, new personnel control. We've also increased, or not necessarily increased, but we've replaced staffing in our water department. 4 new employees there this past quarter. Also looking at a gas department employee. So when I think about staffing and how that segues into our police department, I think as the mayor talked about in his report, last fall we had several events, tragedies occur in the city, and our PD was really pulled into quite a bit of work. It was in their jurisdictional responsibilities, and we were a little understaffed at the time too. So we managed to certainly work with whether it's Sheriff's Department and the other law enforcement entities, but getting back to full staff was important for us. Some of the calls that come into my office relate to everything from speeding to just general oversight in the community. So certainly very important for us to get our staffing back up to that level so we can provide those services. Further, with our police, we've been working back to the COG on a new kind of furniture design layout in our dispatch center. That will go in this next week. We've also got some new grants that come in for body cams, mobile workstations in the vehicles. These are all tools, technology tools that we're using to provide a better environment for our police officers and also really a better environment for those that have the unfortunate opportunity of being pulled over. Certainly we continue to work and have involvement with Ms. Susan Berg. Some of you have watched some of the updates in the news. I think the one young lady from Channel 7, she's done a real nice job at field reporter, continuing to work with us and ensure the visibility. Attorney General's office has that case, and so we're not going to see as much of the nuts and the bolts of the case, but we certainly are wanting to come to some resolve and find the solution. And a little final update there is we calls for service. We range between 18 and 23 a day. And I like to kind of keep that in front of us because these are calls that we're actively going out and responding to. So sometimes a call, you may be able to resolve it in 5 or 10 minutes, but sometimes an officer might be on scene for an hour or 2 hours. And so when we think about how important it is to have staff in the field that can reply to these calls and put attention. So, brief report tonight, but just want to give you a couple highlights. Next meeting we'll get a little bit more in depth on first quarter financials. So, anybody's got any questions, be glad to answer.
Everybody? What does that bring our police force to the new additions?
Scout total is at 10. We're at, I believe, 10 there. We've got 3 on animal control, and then dispatchers. We try to carry 5 or 6 dispatchers. 144-hour-a-week operation, so supervisor and 5 dispatchers.
Very good. Thank you. Public hearings. We have none. Okay, let's go to the consent agenda. The minutes and financial reports, department written reports, board appointments, notice to the public. The following items are of routine administrative nature. The council has been furnished with background and support material on each item and or it has been discussed at previous meeting. All items will be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately unless requested by a council member. In which event, the item or items will immediately be withdrawn for individual consideration in its normal sequence. After the items not requiring separate discussion have been acted upon, the remaining items will be adopted by one vote. So we'll go to item A, approve city council meetings of December 6, 2016, and approve council entrance commission member appointment, building and standards commission, Walls Williams, and that's the Akron City Council. So I will entertain.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
I move that we approve Dr. Andrews' appointed member for the building and standards commission.
Okay, information or discussion items. City manager Zimmer.
Just 1 second. I'm city secretary as well this week.
Well, I didn't get a pad or a pen.
Yeah, I didn't either, so what's up with
Sherry
it?
Taylor.
Yeah.
What happened? I didn't make coffee or cookies.
There's no coffee, cookies.
All it down.
That's why we need a city secretary.
There we go. You see, you saw the subliminal in that.
Oh, shit, yeah, you know, trying to put the little strong arm.
All right, on the mayor's city council, I included in the packet some of the updates that we had from the candidate that was selected, Ms. Patsy Patton, as well as just kind of a different scenario of options that would be in front of council. The Councilman Stevens, when he knew he wasn't going to be able to attend this meeting, Councilwoman Antrim, when she knew, they also offered up comments to me. So I provided those on the bench for you to see this evening. And also reached out to Adolfo, who's here, and reviewed with him what those 3 options were. And because there was no subsequent action taken after Patsy Patton was offered and accepted the job on November 15th by council. We want to continue to move forward with her, then no action really needs to be taken this evening. So we just want to throw that out. It's certainly council's decision on how y'all want to move forward.
And she is a highly qualified individual, and I just want to make sure I saw her email here where it says she's committed, whether her father gets killed or not, that she will be here. So,
And I did talk to her yesterday and emphasized with her that, I knew that would be a concern with council to ensure that she had alternate means to help care for her father if necessary, and she has put that in place. So.
okay. Yes, sir.
I don't see any reason to deviate from the course we took before. I mean, she was obviously the most qualified of the people that came here. She did unexpectedly quit, but the reason was because her father was in a hurt locker. And my perspective on that is God, family, job. You know? I mean, she didn't quit just for the heck of it. She quit because her father was hurting, and she doesn't even have a husband. So she had to do it herself. But, if she just quit on a whim, I'd be opposed. And I'm certainly not opposed to giving her the offer. Because if we start over again months before we get somebody here and get them trained and they get notice where they are, and if they're a city secretary now, you probably got to give 3 or 4 weeks notice because they're in a management position. I think we just go with it.
I feel the same way about it because we've got elections coming up here next month, and that's a very crucial agenda in the city government. So we need someone that's experienced. She is highly experienced in that field also. I personally feel that we should go with her.
Well, I have some issues with that. Not with Patsy herself, just the length of time that we had when she did report that she was not going to be at work the next morning. I know emergencies do happen, but I'm sure that, unless he was in the emergency room and we ended up having to go straight from ER to OR, I can understand why the notice was so short. But most of the time, the are already pre-scheduled. And I have issues with the fact that what if this happens again? I did talk to Molly off the record on the streets, and she said that there had been 2 other residents that had come in that were also city secretaries. And I would like to see those before, and if we call it special, I'm okay with that, so we can look at it. I just want us to make sure that we're not running into this and that 90 days down the road, it's going to happen. Because, like Councilor Fitzgerald says, it's always, family always does come in, and we all do. But I know we have a lot of issues coming up with elections, and we don't have a secretary, but we may be in the same boat down the road that we are in right now. And that's just the way I feel. And if we do have those other 2 resumes that are city secretaries that have put in for it, I would like to look at those before we make a decision.
Part of the reason that I really like Patsy is she is committed to this area. She's been coming out here for years. She's into astronomy. She goes to McDonald's Observatory. She's been to Food and Ranch where they have the star party every year. And she doesn't have a husband to complain about being too far from the city. I just think of the time frame that we've got between now and, when the person becomes active. Like I said, we've got an election coming up here.
I understand all that. I just don't see how the way it was handled to let us know less than 24 hours, hey, I'm not going to be at work tomorrow. I was not okay.
Well, I could see,
that's very
your point.
unprofessional on my point.
Yeah.
Looking at it from my
I can see that point.
I thought that was
Was
very
that not an emergency, or what was the situation? Did you ask her about the situations surrounding her father's problem?
We talked briefly about that. I didn't get into the specific ailment and just from a HIPAA perspective. You know, she's
Oh, yeah, that's
an
right.
existing
Forget
employee.
about that.
If she doesn't offer it up, then I can't really ask.
We don't have records.
Yeah, right, yeah, I keep forgetting that stuff.
So nothing more than what she had identified in her email correspondence.
I mean, I feel comfortable going ahead with it.
We haven't heard from you, Council.
I agree with what's the same of what you're saying. You know, y'all both have good points. I also think maybe we should just give her the benefit of the doubt. I mean, she may have had a really, I mean, you know, her dad may have had an emergency. Couldn't get to us. You know. I mean, why would you choose somebody else and make the wrong choice?
We already decided to choose the way to choose, but I can see where we can keep doing it. But then if we open it up again, we're down to the same thing.
I just don't want us to get in a hurry. Well, you know, we need something ASAP. You know, but what if down the road we're going to kill ourselves later and say, oh, we're in such a hurry to fill this position. You know, now this is going on. So we have that 90-day probation period.
I don't know that we were really in such a hurry. We went through the advertising process. We went through the interview process. We had executive session to discuss what we discussed. It's not like, you know, we just the first person to walk through the door and say, okay, you're hired.
Oh, no, you know, I didn't.
Well, yeah, I know. But I'm saying we did go through the process.
Do you have that 90 days? Maybe for probation period?
Well, employees are brought on typically a 90-day probationary period. They start getting the benefits.
And that's the 90-day probation. You don't want to put her on insurance and then 30 days later she's gone and you've already spent all this money on insurance. That's the reason for the probation.
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
That's right, to see how things are.
And you can evaluate it after 90 days. I mean, it's just almost a standard procedure in employment.
Yeah, I don't know any place you go to that you walk in the door to hand you all the benefits day one.
Well, I would just share that I think the comments around the timing of it, and we certainly, you know, Molly gave ample notice that she was going to retire. The idea was to get somebody in, not knowing if we would have a qualified, experienced person that could at least shadow with Molly for a few weeks. Certainly that window is closed, and filing for the election starts January 18th.
Yes.
And
I'm
so
going to do my papers too.
things will certainly pick up. You know, this is a light week, and we're going to be busy from the 17th, in my assertion, through the middle of April. So,
My position is we move forward with Benson.
yeah, and we don't, as I shared with you, Adolfo's comments, you don't have to take any action this evening. Just progress forward as was determined on November 5th.
Well, it is under information discussion item, so it needs to come back on the agenda. For an action item.
For next week. On the 17th.
Well, 3 months from now, you can do a review. What, if you look at Adolfo's comments, the council does not have to take action.
Right,
This
because
evening.
we'd already,
Yeah, because you've already taken action.
so then we'll put it on the agenda
For the 17th.
For the, you do a review with her 90 days after she starts.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's typical. Most
I think that's why I feel comfortable with that.
have we review after 90 days. Can we move forward?
And we're gonna report.
There we go.
Okay, I have one other question. If we decide to keep her and bring her on board, when is she gonna be available? The 30 days to move?
She has already talked to the apartment complex.
Yeah, she could
They do
effectively
have-
be at
they
work
do
on
have-
Monday morning. If
I
we-
don't think this Monday, but I certainly believe within 2 weeks she'll be.
Because if filing starts on January the 18th, that only gives us next week.
Right. What'll happen is I'll take care of the filing until she gets on board.
Now he just kidding. I said, who do I get my paperwork to?
Well, I mean, I voiced my comments, I just thought it was very professional, the way it was handled. You know, it just shows that if that's how you're going to start, is that what's going to be expected down the road? I'm not trying to be negative. I think she's very good, you know, but we need to also look more than past the table. You know,
We had 7 people that applied. Now we got 2 more. How professional is it if you couldn't get your resume in by the deadline?
Because we didn't advertise. So, you know, I respect your comments and your concerns.
I mean,
And,
you know, I worked in healthcare. Things, unless you're in the emergency room, things normally don't happen, you know, in less than 12 hours unless you have had a major trauma. I mean, stuff's, you know, you've probably gone through the process of trying to eliminate surgery or whatever, you know, and you've had to work down to your last resort. It's like, okay, well, we've already tried A, B, and C, we have no choice but to do it. You know, so again, I was just not okay with the length of time that we got in the general position. But that's just the way.
Because if it's an emergency, you never know when it's going to occur. That's what's an emergency.
Boy,
I think we need to move on. And we'll go to the action items to be accompanied by a brief statement of facts, including where funds are coming from, if applicable. Action items limited to up to 10 per meeting. Citizens are allowed to comment, limited to 3 minutes after being called upon by the mayor. Citizens are required to state their name and ward in which they reside. Priority will be given to citizens of Alpine and those who own businesses or property in the city. Individuals who do not live in or own businesses or property in the city limits of Alpine will be allowed to speak if there's time available. Now, before we move on this, I'd like to make a comment. It was brought up to me that there's folks here that feel that when I make this statement that I should make the same statement after every action item. And I feel that, I think it's pretty clearly stated here. City Manager Zimmer always turns to the assembly and looks to see if there's any comments. Seeing none, then we move on. And I think this is something that happened a while back. And it was just to streamline the process instead of being repetitious on this particular item or section. So with that said, I'll move on to, is there anything you'd like to add to that, City Manager?
No, I think you stated it.
Okay, discuss and consider approving letter in support of TE Tech's continued offering of classes of water and waste licensing in the city of Alpine. These classes have been 1, low cost, and 2, low proximity. I'm sorry, now that you're,
No, that's fine.
okay. Well, I know you're doing a dual job, so I thought I'd help you out.
This is actually a neat item for us. And in your packets, I had not been able to fill in the person's name. I believe it's James Fisher, so I do have the updated letter for the mayor to sign. And in a nutshell, we've been able to bring teaks in and offer water, wastewater licensing class, primarily done here in the Civic Center. We have been remodeling. Normally, these classes go for between $200 and $300. The state grant program has allowed us to only pay $25. Plus, we don't have to pay travel. So you think about us sending an employee to Lubbock for 5 nights, fuel, the per diem, and we're spending between $600 and $1,000 just to train an employee, plus a $200 or $300 price tag. So one of the things that is important is that we get this letter to Teeks and really continue to push hard to have this class located here in Alpine. And it really not only benefits Alpine, but we get attendance from Fort Stockton, Marfa, Marion, Fort Davis, down south, everybody. Van Born, we get folks in from there as well. So it's important. I know it's not a real in-depth item, but it is very important for us from a cost perspective.
I'll move that we approve the letter to support TEEX on CU classes for water and water waste licensing to the city.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made, it's been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries. Okay, council member comments. We'll start with you, Councilor.
I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. And it's going to be a better year for all of us. And, thank you for coming. And I'll see you next month.
Yes.
I just wanted to also wish everybody a happy new year and hopefully a positive one also.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming, especially my 3 constituents. I just found out that Mr. Jonathan lived just this afternoon. I found out he's in my ward. So you did that last year. You thought, oh, I didn't know where you lived. I haven't been down there at the hotel to see Cat in a long time. But thank you all for coming, and happy New Year to everybody. And let's keep the progress going that we've had the last couple of years.
Like, sir, again, I think I wish pretty much everybody here a happy new year. And again, I'm going to reiterate that it may be a prosperous and safe new year. So, and I'd like to thank y'all for coming. I know it's sometimes it's kind of hard to get away from work or whatever, but I want to thank y'all for being here. Good part of the city, and from that, that you participate by showing up at these meetings. Okay, motion to make the adjourn. Good second. There was no discussion on this. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Meeting is adjourned.
Y'all have a good evening. Good night.
Stop up.